Welcome back everyone, and I hope you managed to identify your reasons for house sitting. Now we're looking at identifying your needs and expectations. These are probably the most important things you can do when you start out as a house sitter. So in this video we're going to look at what you need or want from your house sitting experiences, and make sure you begin by only applying for sits that are right for you. Going on a 1 or 2 week vacation is very different to house sitting for the same time or longer. Why? Well, think about it. On vacation, the chances are you'll be staying in a hotel with air conditioning, chemically cleared of bugs, with taxis outside the door. There will be restaurants, bars and shops conveniently placed to make life easy for you. Living in the same place could be very different. If you're caring for pets, it's unlikely that anything toxic will be used much or at all to kill mosquitoes, cockroaches, spiders, ants and other bugs. There may only be fans, no air conditioning, or aircon use may be restricted due to its cost. The closest restaurant could be a half-hour drive away, and taxis may be expensive, and there's no pool to jump in and cool off. This isn't extreme, I know, but nonetheless I've heard many stories of people that couldn't hack living in the tropics despite loving their vacations there. You need to start thinking more like a local, not like a holiday maker when you're house sitting, in most cases anyway. So have a think about these questions. What type of environment do you prefer? Do you like the countryside or the city or somewhere in between? Would you like to be by the coast, or would you prefer to be in the mountains? Are you okay at altitude? We spent 3 months house sitting in San Miguel de Allende in Mexico last year. We were living at altitude way higher than anything that exists in the UK, and honestly it took some time to adjust to walking up and down the steep hills to our house sitting home. It was good exercise though, and we needed it at the time. What climate are you comfortable with? Could you take the dogs for walks maybe 2 or 3 times a day in searing heat or wet tropical conditions? Can you handle high humidity like I've got now, mold and other tropical challenges? In extreme heat, can you manage without air conditioning? Would you be okay walking to the shops on uneven or possibly steep paths and roads? Are you okay with regular clearing of snow on winter house sits, in Canada perhaps, and that's no easy task? Do you want to be out sightseeing, or are you a homebody content hanging out around the property with the pets, doing a bit of work maybe, watching movies? How important is public transport? Can you fund a rental car? Sometimes cars are provided, but not always. We get them for probably 2/3 of our sits. Will you be working? Do you need space with a desk? What level of Wi-Fi do you need? Is there a chance power could be affected by seasonal storms or extreme weather? And on that topic, have you ever experienced extreme weather or tropical storms, hurricane winds, flooding? It's been a bad year this year in the Caribbean. Think about the seasons you're prepared to live through. Many expats take their vacations during the low season. This can also be the rainy time of the year, or when the very hot weather is the norm. That's not always bad, but still something to consider for your own comfort. And then there are the responsibilities. How much are you prepared to take on? How much time are you willing to exchange for your free accommodation? How many pets are you comfortable with? Are there breeds that you wouldn't want to look after? Are you okay with large dogs? Do you have a cat allergy? How much time are you prepared to dedicate to pet care, grooming, play and exercise? And what about gardening and property maintenance? Again, different situations will have different requirements. Here's an example of our own needs and expectations. We work pretty full on with the House Sitting magazine, teaching English online and on a number of other online projects. So we can't look after too many pets. Although saying that, we did have 6 cats in Mexico for 3 repeat sits, but cats are much less demanding often than dogs. We would only look after 1 or 2 dogs at a time in most cases, or a dog and a cat perhaps. We have to have high-speed, consistent internet, and we don't have too much time for large amounts of gardening, even though this is something I enjoy. We are happy looking after off-grid systems and pools, as we've had plenty of experience with our own properties, and we enjoy remote locations. We like our utilities to be paid for and prefer that a car is provided, but that's not a deal breaker. We enjoy hot tropical locations but wouldn't house sit in the cold winters of Canada, for instance. Which of these are deal breakers? I'd say too many pets, a large garden and cold weather. We have other expectations around the property too, like cleanliness and kitchen setup. I love cooking, so that's important for me, especially as we are living long term in many cases. And we prefer quiet locations. These are all personal choices, and I always say that there's a house sitter for every homeowner and vice versa. It's just about finding that perfect match. A bad match with undefined needs and expectations leads to disappointment. It can also lead to distrust, and it usually leads to no reference or a poor reference, something we all want to avoid. So if a homeowner indicates that the pets must sleep on your bed with you, but you don't approve of this, don't apply for the sit. I know you think maybe I'll just shut the door while I'm there, but have you tried sleeping with a dog pining outside all night or a cat scratching? It's just not worth it. Find a sit that matches your needs and expectations, then you'll also satisfy the homeowner's needs, which is just as important when house sitting. Outlining your expectations stops you taking on house sits with your heart. That could lead to upset. We did this once, lured by a fabulous location in Botswana, but we suffered and learned from our mistake. You'll find a downloadable document with a list of things to consider, a bit of a reminder of what I've been saying. Take a look and type up or write down your needs and expectations. Then, as today's sharing task, list on Facebook 3 things that would be deal breakers for you. If you like reading, there's a popular article we produced for House Sitting magazine called House Sitting Expectations, What is Unrealistic? The link is above the video, so take a read, especially if you're new to house sitting. It may be a bit of an eye-opener. So that's it for today. I'll be around in the group, but tomorrow we'll take a look at where you want to house sit and what you'll need to consider. And we'll be looking at the platforms and where you can find house sits. So thank you very much for coming along today. Hope you've enjoyed it and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.